wanted to talk about today on Captain's Log is not something specific that happened on the road, but something I realized. I was listening to something on the way home, and it was, some discourse about tipping, but it didn't just come from just some random. It actually came from someone pretty well known. I don't know if you know who Matt Walsh is, but he's kind of a conservative talking head for, the Daily Wire. So shout out to him. But he made it very apparent that he does not like how tipping is going. And I see what he's saying, like where you go into like these like ice cream shops and coffee shops and some restaurants, like takeout restaurants, and they slide that little kiosk around with the percentages on it. And it's like, well, geez, like where does it end? But also he was going in on DoorDash because, I'm not sure if you knew or not, but DoorDash, whenever you order DoorDash as a customer, if you ever decide to tip nothing, tip zero, it'll give you a prompt that says something to the effect of the Dashers are independent contractors, and by not tipping, you may experience a longer wait time. So it's kind of like a notice, and this Matt Walsh guy was basically saying it was a threat and how tipping has gone out of hand. And I was just really thinking, he was like, well, why should I have to pay for the service on top of paying for the service? So I think I'd take the time to educate some folks on what you actually pay for when you pay for these services. And, I shouldn't take too long. I just wanted to get this off my chest right quick. Maybe make some content off of it. So the way I see it is we have to understand what DoorDash is. People think that DoorDash and UberEats and the like, they think that that's a delivery service. Wrong. So DoorDash and UberEats and all that stuff, they're pretty much matchmakers. They're a marketing firm and a tech company who offers a delivery service. Here's what I mean. So a lot of times on DoorDash, you'll see restaurants that you may have never heard of or something like that. That's the beauty of what DoorDash does. They're essentially a matchmaker, because I used to wonder too, why are restaurants paying DoorDash to use the service? Then it hit me. Like they're essentially, DoorDash is giving them publicity that the restaurants wouldn't have had otherwise. Restaurants, especially the smaller mom and pop restaurants that would have had to like run ads and do like free tastings and all this other expensive stuff when they could just pay DoorDash a fee per order to get the name out there. And, we see a restaurant that looks interesting on DoorDash, we order it. So, and what I mean by a tech company is they have the platform, the apps and all that. So DoorDash's job is done when we've ordered the food. Does that make sense? Because DoorDash did its job by essentially matchmaking the restaurant with us. So that's how they're basically a marketing and tech company. Now, as far as offering delivery service, I'm not sure if y'all knew this, but that's actually optional. You can actually pick up your food from the restaurant. Yeah, like I used to do that quite a bit. Like whenever I order DoorDash, I would try to find a restaurant that looked good. It's actually how I found one of my favorite taco joints in Charlotte through DoorDash. I would go pick them up, but then eventually I think DoorDash was running some kind of special promotion, and I had them delivered. So that worked out as well. But I would have never found that restaurant if it wasn't for DoorDash. I would have never known about them, just being out my own. So in that sense, like I said, DoorDash did its job. But as far as paying for as far as like tipping the delivery driver, like tipping the delivery driver is paying the delivery driver. Because, people think, well, I've already paid the DoorDash delivery fee. I did pay the driver. No, you didn't. And then you got some people like this Matt Walsh cat that think that think they're entitled to have their food delivered. I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it. Delivery services are luxuries for people that appreciate it and people that got it. They're not charities for people who don't have it. They're not entitlement. They're not rights. They're privileges. So that being said, like treat it as such. Tip your damn driver. Tip the person who is going out of their way, who's using their own gas, their own car. Now, I get the argument that these places could pay more. Some of these people will say, well, it's the responsibility of the companies to pay their drivers. And to an extent, yes, I agree. The base pay does need to be higher. But at the same time, like there's gotta be, there's gotta be somewhere. But also too, going towards, us as gig drivers. I'm gonna tell you the truth. One thing I've learned throughout this whole process, this 5.5 months of being a freelancer, is that I really don't like to work for tips. I hardly ever use DoorDash unless the base pay is like on a promo or something like that, where I get an extra $3 per order. So yeah, and that's just because like working for tips can be tiring, because DoorDash and some of these places have lowered their base pay so much, it's almost not worth it to take the orders without a tip. Unlike a Walmart Spark or Instacart or like my paper route or something like that, I don't have to worry as much about tips. Like, please understand, it's still no tip, no trip, unless makes sense. I mean that's a whole nother conversation. I might cover that probably. I'll cover that another time. But yeah, I just really wanted to take time to explain what people are paying for these apps. It might be an episode of High Score Haven. I don't know.